Hi all, welcome to the Marquee Matchups for the 23rd of June. Plenty to cover in this, especially with the Confederations Cup, because there is two match day weeks that kind of fall this weekend coming. So I want to cover both aspects for that to keep you well and truly covered, so if that potentially happens. So if you can smash links, be awesome, sub to the channel if you're new, follow me on Twitter at GSLegend. All the links are down below for playlists on the channel and social media links as always. So plenty to cover as I said, so let's jump into the video. So New York City versus New York Red Bulls is the main game this week for what I've noticed in the MLS, and this could go any which way in all honesty. You could also consider the Houston versus Dallas game, that is the Texas derby, so two major derbies in all honesty with New York and Texas. But what I would imagine they would kind of do for both routes would be two from either team. So for New York City and New York Red Bulls it would be two from you could have one New York City FC player and one New York Red Bulls player, and that would get you to the two. But they could also just go the two players from both teams, which would kind of be insane, but it's very unlikely. 11 from the MLS, 4 rares, 3 nations, 70 overall rating. I hope they wouldn't go much more. They did 65 for the one just passed. 46k for cost, 34k rewarded, like 10-15k pack, and 7 out of 10 for likelihood. Vålerenga versus Lillestrøm is one of the bigger games in Norway, and it is a derby, and it could be featured this week. And especially since we've not had the Type of League, or it's now known as the Elite Serin or something. It's got a new title, but for me it could be an option, but it's not 100% given. But you'd probably have two from both, all told from both teams. 11 from the league, 4 rares, 3 nations, 70 overall rating. It gives you a high enough overall to cover your back. You might not even go an overall rating, especially with the Norwegian League. 46k cost, 34k reward, and 6 out of 10 for likelihood. I do quite fancy this in all honesty. This would be the alternative to say the MLS games, because we've had them the last couple of weeks. Having a Norwegian League game would be the kind of a smart alternative, so kind of be you're prepared. If you've got these players in your team, you're kind of sorted, and I think you'd be well and truly covered. Rosario versus New Old Boys is another game. This is Rosario Central. This is the Teofilo Gutierrez, the striker, right striker. He is from that particular team. You can also consider Pinola as well, who is a goal centre back. You probably and Maxi Rodriguez is the left mid from that team. But you probably need two all told from both options. 11 from the league, 4 rares, 3 nations. It's one of these ones that you could go lesser rares. They might even go like 3 or not even rares. They might just focus on like Argentine players, for example. I know I've got 3 in this just now, but they could go anywhere from 3 to 5, and then or so many nationalities. They can spin it as best they can. I wouldn't imagine they'll go too high in overall. 70 is what I'm saying as a safety net. They could go 73, 74, and a 6 out of 10 for likelihood. Then Getafe, who just recently won the game against Huesca, they will play the winner of Tenerife or Cadiz, which will be played tomorrow. So for me, they would go 2 maybe from both teams all told, whoever the other finalist is. 11 from the Liga, 1, 2, 3, 4 rares, 3 nations, 70 overall rating. I can't see them going much higher in honesty. They might go a little bit lower, but 70 seems most fair and realistic. 46k cost, 46k reward. I think they'll kind of give you something a bit worthwhile, and 6 out of 10 for likelihood. This could be the other option that they would go for. This could be like Liga 1, 2, 3, and then the Norwegian League could be the two options they might go for. Leagues, it gives them a bit of play and flexibility, but plenty of the goals you can nab in the league to cover your back. Now, the Confederations Cup, as I said, has match day 2 starts like Wednesday or Thursday, and then like match day 3 is like the Saturday or Sunday or something. It's quite funny, but the way they'll do it, it's hard to say which 2 they'll go for. So I'm covering all the games from both match days to cover your back. But Russia, Portugal, 2 from both teams, 2 leagues, 4 rares, 3 nations, 80 overall rating. I know it's not that high, it was like 76 and 77, but I'm saying to 80 to cover the possibility they could easily go so much higher, and there's so many different ways you can put it across. But it's really going to be interesting how they'll put it together. But be prepared, of course. Mexico versus New Zealand. We've had Mexico but not New Zealand. This is how difficult it could be. We've had some of the teams already, but how the fixtures fall, it's going to be quite interesting to see which ones they truly want to go for in terms of requirements, packs, etc. But with Mexico, New Zealand, 2 from both teams, at least 2 leagues, 4 rares, 4 nations, 78 overall, 79, 80 is easy. Winston Reed's your saving grace for this, so be prepared. 68k cost, 5 to 7k reward, and a 6 out of 10 for likelihood. the way I've built this is an EPL with Jimenez up top, and it still gets 100 chem, so it shows you how easy it is to do. Cameroon versus Australia. This just shows you the flexibility you can kind of do with this. I've made a second Bundesliga team with Abubakar up top, and that's just 2 leagues in itself. Obviously it wouldn't necessarily be that easy, but 2 from both nations, 2 leagues, 4 rares, 3 nations, 76 overall rating. It's not exactly going to be hard to achieve. 68k cost would be near the lower end, like 6-7k, 5 to 7 reward, and 6 out of 10 for likelihood. This particular way, Australia could be an option, well, Cameroon and Australia, but it's difficult to truly pin down what they could pick for 2 games. Now, Germany-Chile is one I'm particularly fancying, mainly because of the Germans are like the world champions, and Chile are like the South American champions. That's kind of my feeling, and I know we've had Chile already, but we've not had Germany yet. But it'd be 2 from both teams, half a dozen clubs, mainly because I've got this to 1 league, and it's going to be difficult. It could be difficult, but it's easy enough to get a high enough chem, depending on what they do for requirements. 4 rares, 3 nations, 80 overall ratings, not going to exactly be difficult, and if Germany are thrown in, they're going to expect probably a higher overall. 69k cost, 5 to 7 reward, and 7 out of 10 for likelihood. Mexico-Russia is the game from match day 3, but with this I would imagine you're going to have 2 players from Mexico and Russia, 2 leagues, 3 rares, 3 nations, 78 overall, 68k cost, 5 to 7k reward, and 6 out of 10 for likelihood. This could be an option because I think they will look at the host nations in some context potentially as an option, but it's which game they throw them in as an alternative, because they could quite easily go Russia-Portugal, or they could go the Mexico-Russia. But there's plenty in both leagues and nations to kind of cover your back, and you'd be well and truly sorted. Chile versus Australia. I think they won't go for this because Australian players aren't exactly the most highly rated, and also depending how you build the route, it's not exactly giving you much overall rating. But how this route's built, it just shows you right away 76 rated squad is not exactly difficult. 2 from both teams, 2 leagues, 3 rare players, 3 nations, 76 rating, 68k for cost, 5 to 7k reward, and a 6 out of 10 for likelihood. Joys of the Pro League, Matty Ryan in goals, then Aaron Guiz of the Bundesliga. That would cover my 2 leagues aspect, and obviously if they're not asking for so many from 1 league, you'd be well and truly covered with this route, and it wouldn't be too expensive either. Then the last route to cover is Germany versus Cameroon. This is just basically a Super League squad because of Andreas Beck. I've tried to think off my head, like Beck, Arslan and Podolski are all German, and they kind of just cover that decent enough overall to slot it to kind of make this team work for 1 league. But 2 from both nations, half a dozen clubs, 4 rares, 3 nations, 78 overall, could even push to 79 if they wished, 6 to 8k cost, maybe even sneak to 9 if they were to go to 79 rating, 5 to 7k cost, and a 6 out of 10 for likelihood. This would be quite a good way, but I personally think if they're going to do anything, they'll probably go match day 2, or maybe a mix of, or maybe go 1 match day 2, 1 match day 3. It is genuinely quite difficult to kind of predict how they're going to put it together. Now I know I didn't cover one of the games featured, which was the Mexico-New Zealand for match day 2. Now, sorry, New Zealand versus Portugal for match day 3. Basically that will probably not 100% happen, but in terms of in this route, but we're not 100% sure. But I hope you find this useful. As always, let me know in the comments down below what you fancy for the marquee matchup. Smash the like, sub to the channel if you're new, follow me on Twitter, and I will catch you all later.